Hello, everyone. Here we are again at Behind the Lab. I want to thank you for following our series. My name is Tom Morrissey. I'm the Artistic Director for Theater Now New York.
And I'm Colleen Harris. I'm the Managing Director. In this series, we spotlight the members of our Musical Theater Writers Lab, and we make sure that you learn all about their partnerships, their processes, and their projects. Today, we're delighted to introduce you to Bob Kelly and Jonathan Keebler.
Bob and Jonathan have a new musical. It's called Closer to Heaven. They're going to be talking about that as well as some of their other works.
Now here's Bob and Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Bob Kelly. I'm originally from Twin Cities, Minnesota, and I've been living in New York City for, almost 8 years. Currently, I'm back in Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Keebler. I am originally from Delray Beach, Florida, and now I live in New York City, and I have been here, I think it's about 8 years now.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We'd love to hear more about your work together. How did your partnership first form?
So Bob and I we went to the graduate musical theater writing program at NYU together. And at the program, we did a little bit of writing on a few short projects together. We didn't do our main full-length musical together. But a few years later, Bob got a call from a friend of his who was working on a movie musical, and she wanted to bring a team on to work on it, and Bob asked me to come and do the lyrics for that, and that eventually became a Most Average Musical, which we actually did a stage version of that at Soundbites together.
And we're lucky enough now that we get to see a song from that first project from this partnership, A Most Average Musical. After its production at the Soundbites Festival, A Most Average Musical has gone on to be included in Theater Now's book, the 10-minute musical and anthology from the Soundbites Festival, which will be published on November 1st. For more information about the book, you can go to tnny.org/anthology-book. Now let's take a look at the opening number from A Most Average Musical, What a Night. Directed by Talia Berger and featuring performances by Cody Boehm, Eliza Berger, Natalie Powers, and Kristen Abels. In it, 4 college roommates with widely varying goals discuss their plans for the night and their hopes for their futures. Here's What a Night from A Most Average Musical.
First Friday night at college, I'm off to a Kappa soiree. My look will bewitch.
No, you look like a bitch.
So if that makes them like me, okay.
First Friday night at college, the library, that's where it's at. Those steadfast and sturdy get tenured by 30 and end up alone with a cat. Well, not me, 'cause I'm meeting a guy so hot I could die.
In that dress, that's like 12 fashion sense.
I should change. Gotta get it right.
Tonight is the night.
Tonight is the night that my way above average life begins. What a night, it's gonna be perfect. What a night, my life's taking flight. What a simply unbeatable, so sweet it's eatable, hope it's repeatable night. My world-renowned professor is in need of an intern and quick. And I'll make him say that his choice should be me. That's so nice, now check out my guy's pic. That's him we met on Tinder. Ha, a very reliable source. I'm getting ahead, but what if we wed?
Well, that's sure to end in divorce. You're all cray, 'cause you look like a freak, unless you go Greek.
Bitchy. Rude.
Jenny, don't you agree?
Leave me out. Well, you all can hate, but it's gonna be great.
I agree, OMG, I can't wait.
What a night, it's gonna be flawless. What a night, no maybe or might. What a so unforgettable, best evening yetable, never regrettable night.
Hey, Jenny, would you please zip me?
So Jenny, what are you up to? Well, Dashi has plans right tonight. Who'd stay at home? Gotta go now, I wish I could hear them. I hope you have fun.
But now I've gotta run.
Now I've gotta run to a night that's second to none. What a night, what a night. It's college, not epic. What a night, and more are inside.
You'll see my night is greater, Jen.
Try not to
So, Jonathan, Bob, how did you get interested in musical theater?
I can jump in on that question. So what inspired me to get into musical theater? So I was more coming from the world of music, classical music. I was trained as a classical pianist growing up, and that's what I studied in college. But I always loved composing, writing my own music. And a friend of mine in college, we just kind of dove into writing an original musical together. And once we started doing that, something kind of creatively clicked for me. Something about writing songs specifically for a character in a dramatic situation was really exciting to me. And I kind of just rode that wave. I applied to NYU and went straight there after college and kind of haven't looked back. I love the genre. Yeah.
I actually started in theater when I was 6 years old. I used to put on, I used to recreate movies that I would see and put on little sort of one-man shows of them as a kid. And my grandmother told my first grade teacher about this, and then my first grade teacher had me do it for my first grade class, had me put on this like entire little show for them, and they were like, this kid needs to be in the theater. So they sent me to this school to learn acting and singing, and I got really into musical theater from there. And I was basically on this performance track for most of my adolescence, but then my freshman year of college, a friend of mine who was studying music composition, she and I decided to collaborate together on writing a musical. And from there, I sort of fell in love with the art form and fell in love with writing specifically and have never looked back.
And we're so glad you did, because now we get to have you as part of the Theater Now family. How did you first get involved with Theater Now?
Sure. So I think the first time either of us probably heard about Theater Now New York or Soundbites was when we were still grad students, and Theater Now New York was promoting the Soundbites Festival, which maybe was just in its kind of first couple iterations to students at our program. So I initially submitted a piece with my thesis partner, Sam Chance. We submitted a 10-minute excerpt of our piece, and that was part of Soundbites 2.0. And so that was the first time I ever worked with them. But I kind of kept them on my radar and was seeing what they were up to. And then by the time, I think it was 4.0, when Jonathan and I got involved and with A Most Average Musical, this movie musical that we were talking about earlier, we kind of adapted that, shrunk it down a tiny bit and adapted it for the stage, and submitted that and got to do that piece with Soundbites. And it was a lot of fun both times.
And then later on, you joined our Musical Writers Lab in its inaugural season. Can you describe your experience with the Musical Writers Lab?
Yeah. So the Musical Writers Lab has been a really great experience for me personally, because I feel like ever since leaving school, there's a lot of things to juggle. There's day jobs to juggle and real life to juggle, and it can be really easy to sort of lose track of the writing and lose focus. And the Writers Lab has been this wonderful little gift of being able to meet every 2 weeks and talk with people who are doing the same thing you're doing, and get feedback from those people. And it's really been awesome to be able to just have that chance to refocus and recommit to the writing every 2 weeks with a wonderful group of people.
Oh, that's great to hear. Speaking of recommitting to your writing, are you working on anything new?
Yes, we are working on a new show called Closer to Heaven, which is it's a coming of age musical about faith, community, and what it means to serve God. It follows 18-year-old Thomas, who is a closeted gay man whose Catholic faith has always been central to his identity, and unwilling to grapple with how his sexuality and his faith intersect. He decides to join the priesthood, follow his faith that way, and he hopes not have to really deal with this part of himself. But shortly after he arrives in seminary school, he falls in with this group of soon-to-be priests who are also closeted and gay like he is. And together they discover this clandestine hierarchy of powerful gay priests who trade in sexual favors and secrets, and the sort of dark underworld forces Thomas to finally have to reconcile his sexuality, his faith and devotion to God, and the fact that the church that he has devoted his whole life to may be built on lies.
Now we'll get to see that personal inner conflict represented musically in this next song. In it, two characters reflect on the pull between eternal versus earthly joy, and on between following their faith versus following their hearts. Featuring Joshua Greenblatt and Benedict de la Bedoya, here's the title song from Closer to Heaven.
I don't want to keep on keeping my distance. I'm tired of guarding the words that I say. I feel my heart beating with religious insistence, as if God is calling to show me the way. Every day I've lived, I've yearned to be closer to heaven. Everything I've done to be closer to heaven. But no act, not one, has made me feel closer to heaven than when I'm close to you. I don't want to question what should be an answer. I'm done being fearful of what makes me strong. I can't dance around this, I'm a terrible dancer. So I'll plainly say what I've known all along. Every day I've lived, I've yearned to be closer to heaven. Everything I've done to be closer to heaven. No act, not one, has made me feel closer to heaven than when I'm close to you. I know they tell us that together we'd be pulled from paradise, but when I'm gazing in your eyes, I hear their words, but I think twice. 'Cause every day I've lived, I've yearned to be closer to heaven. Everything I've done to be closer to heaven. No act, not one, has made me feel closer to heaven than when I'm close to you.
Aside from your work on Closer to Heaven, how are you staying creative in 2020?
Sure. So I'm currently back with my parents in Minnesota during all the crazy pandemic times. But one kind of great benefit is that we have our grand piano that I grew up playing with here. So I've been just playing a lot of Chopin, Ravel, Debussy, kind of just communing with the greats. And additionally, I've also been working on an EP of kind of my own solo stuff. It's kind of on pause at the moment, but I'm kind of beginning to think, how can I keep going forward remotely with some of my collaborators on that? So we'll see where that goes.
For myself, I haven't really been picking up a lot of new things during this time, but I've been using the time as a great opportunity to reorient myself with all the different projects I'm working on, and get a lot done on those different projects, and move those forward in a way that is not as easy or efficient in normal everyday life.
And we've been asking all of our writers this question. What is the first thing you're going to do when things go back to quote unquote normal? The first thing you're going to do post-COVID?
So I mentioned I'm back in Minnesota, so this is where I grew up, and I have a lot of extended family here and old friends, and haven't really been able to see them in person. So I think one thing I'm excited for once things begin to open back up and it's a bit safer to go out and see people is, give my grandparents a hug, see some old friends, and see some family.
I am going to be going right out to my favorite bagel shop. I've missed them a lot, and I'm just gonna sit there for a few hours until someone tells me I have to leave.
Our thanks to Bob and Jonathan for spending time with us and answering all of our questions. For more information on them, you can check out the video description below, which will point you to how to find them online.
Also, be sure to follow us. Our handle is @TheaterNowNY, and also visit our website, www.tnny.org.
And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our future videos with our other lab members. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
I don't want to keep on keeping my distance. I'm tired of guarding the words that I say. I feel my heart beating with religious insistence, as if God is calling to show me the way.